So we've now only got a couple days left of this transfer window, and things are getting crazy now. We've got Wayne Rooney joining the Championship out of absolutely nowhere. A lot more transfer rumours to discuss today, and we've also had some pretty big deals go through in the past few days as well. So a lot to go over. Interested to get all your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. So we'll start the video out by talking about Derby. Obviously, they were in action last night, beating Huddersfield by 2-1. Any Huddersfield or Derby fans, let me know down below what you made of the game. Tom Lawrence absolutely stole the show in this one, and from what I'm led to believe, he didn't have a particularly great pre-season for Derby or anything, but he was in red-hot form for this one, scoring both goals. The second, by the way, absolutely superb finish with a crowd of bodies around him, still managed to pick out the top corner. Fantastic from him from outside the box, and his double was enough to secure all 3 points in the end. Obviously, Derby have been fairly busy in the transfer window lately. They completed the double signing of Matt Clark and Christian Bielik. Clark on show for this one. Those two will really go to sturdy up their defence, and since I last spoke about Derby, their squad overall is looking a lot stronger. And sticking with Derby County, as of recording, it's now looking like they completed the deal to sign Wayne Rooney as a player coach, with the contract starting in January as he's looking to see out the rest of the season at DC United. This story came from absolutely nowhere and it's just been concluded so quickly. Mel Morris has pulled off some absolute masterclasses for Derby over the past few years. Obviously, Derby have been the club who's been tiptoeing around financial fair play, but Mel Morris always seems to find a loophole somewhere, and there seems to be another one with this deal. As Wayne Rooney has signed on as a player coach, that will mean that only 50% of his wages will count towards FFP, and with him reportedly being on 80k a week, I mean, blimey, Derby are doing some bit serious business here. And Derby have got a great deal going here. I think that, you know, Wayne Rooney's obviously spoke about his desire to get into management in the past. He's coming into a club like Derby who's, you know, worked wonders for Lampard's career already. He'll be working under an experienced manager in Philip Cocu. Even on the pitch, I think he's still got quite a bit to offer as well. Although it's not the highest standard in the world, his goal scoring record at the MLS is pretty decent. 45 appearances, 25 goals. For a player who likes to drop into midfield, that's not a bad ratio. I also think he'll be a massive influence on some of the youngsters that Derby have got coming up through the squad there. And just for the commercial side of Derby, this signing is going to be absolutely huge for them. So it will start in January, an 18-month contract. Derby fans, let me know down below what you're thinking of this one, because it is absolutely blown my mind. Speaking of some other transfers which have gone through in the Championship in the past few days, we've seen Wigan being very busy. They completed the loan signing of Dujon Sterling coming over from Man City. Jamal Lowe, who is a long-term target for them, has finally signed. I'm really looking forward to seeing how he gets on over the season. Quite a few clubs in for him at some point. You know, we saw Leeds and West Brom, Millwall all mentioned with the winger, but Wigan have got that one over the line. And finally, they've concluded the signing of Kiefer Moore coming over from Barnsley as well. Obviously, it was quite well documented that Wigan were after a target man in this transfer window after they had unsuccessfully gone after Jordan Hugill. But I really like this signing of Kiefer Moore. He's already got a few seasons in the Championship behind him. Was very impressive last season in League One with Barnsley. I think that'll be a really good deal for Wigan, actually. Bristol City have also been fairly busy. They completed the signing of Casey Palmer, who was on there at the second half of last season. And Bristol City also completed the signing of Monaco midfielder Hanno Masengo. The 18-year-old comes over with quite a lot of potential. He's played in the Champions League before, was actually the first player to play in the Champions League born in the 21st century. Really looking forward to seeing how he gets on over the season. Michael Preston were fairly busy. We completed the loan signing of Andre Green coming over from Aston Villa. Obviously, we were in need of a little bit more pace and creativity from out wide after the loss of Callum Robinson. Hopefully, Andre Green is going to look to fill in that void. And we also completed the signing of Tom Bayliss coming over from Coventry for what is believed to be a club record fee, around about £2 million for the midfielder. There had been quite a lot of interest in Bayliss as well. Clubs like Derby and Sheffield United, Aston Villa had all been chasing him in the past. Coventry already have a very good track record with producing English youngsters, and hopefully Bayliss will follow in that similar direction, probably seeing him as a long-term replacement for someone like Paul Gallagher. Christopher Peterson completed the move to Swansea City, adds another wide option to their squad, had a good goal scoring record from out wide last year. Swansea also completed the signing of FC Basel forward Aldo Kalulu on a season-long loan. Hull completed the signing of Sunderland captain George Honeyman. This one surprised me a little bit actually. In League One last season, scoring 6 goals and picking up 3 assists from midfield. It's been well documented now that Ollie McBurney completed his move to Sheffield United. Peacock Farrell's also made a move to the Premier League. He's gone from Leeds to Burnley. We saw Adam Webster make his move from Bristol City to Brighton last week, as did Neil Maupay, the Brentford striker. A bit disappointed that we're not going to see Maupay in the Championship for another year, but I think he will go on and do fairly well in the Premier League. I think he earned it with how good he was with Brentford last season, and Brentford are already tracking some replacements for the striker. And speaking of Brentford, they've been fairly busy as well. They completed the signing of French winger Brian Mbeumo and midfielder Drew Yearwood. With both signings being 19 years old, they fit into Brentford's recruitment policy and the two players they're going to look to develop over the next few years. And Reading completed the signing of Argentinian forward Lucas Boy on a season-long loan coming over from Torino. We spoke about him on the channel a few days ago when he was being linked to Middlesbrough, but Reading have won the race for this player. Not got the best goal scoring ratio. He scored 14 goals in 159 appearances in his career so far. Can either play as a striker or out wide, but he does offer something a little bit different than what Reading have already already got going forward. But there were some of the completed deals which have gone through lately. Now without any further ado, let's hop into some transfer rumours. So we'll kick things off with a deal which looks to be all but over the line. That is Kemar Roofe making the move from Leeds United to Anderlecht. With Leeds' squad already looking pretty thin in a couple of areas, losing Roofe will be quite a big loss for them, especially if they don't replace him for the rest of the window. The fee agreed between the two clubs said to be around about £8 million. He's got into double figures in his previous 2 seasons at Leeds United, scoring 15 goals last season, and really leaves only sort of Bamford and Roberts as their 2 forward options. This situation had been coming for a while though, with the player only having 1 year left in his contract. He couldn't agree a new one with the club, and moving to a club like Anderlecht, you'd expect his wages to be bumped up quite a bit actually. I think that Leeds fans will be sad to see him go. It's all dependent on who comes in now to replace him. And one player Leeds look to be targeting as a potential replacement for the goals is Liverpool winger Ryan Kent. The player's had a number of loan spells out, however Liverpool are now looking to offload the player. He's been loaned out to Coventry, Barnsley, Freiburg, Bristol City and Rangers over the past 4 years, with some loan spells being a bit more successful than others. He impressed at Rangers last year under Steven Gerrard. He's fast direct and at 22 would be a decent option for Leeds. I'd be interested to know what Bielsa's plan with a player like Ryan Kent would be though, whether he's looking to play him down the middle or whether he does see him as more of a natural wide player. However, a different route Leeds could go down is the signing of Eddie Nketiah on a season-long loan from Arsenal. Arsenal wanting to loan out the youngster to get a bit more first team experience. His time in academy football, he's been absolutely lethal for them. Arsenal fans all seem to really highly rate the guy. I think my only time watching him play was in the EFL Cup a couple of years ago, where he scored 2 goals against Norwich. He looks to be a really fast player with good movement, very good at getting in behind, and he looks to be a bit more of a natural number 9 opposed to someone like Ryan Kent would be, although this one will be on the loan deal and not on a permanent. So if I had to ask Leeds fans now, who would you rather take out of the 2 players, let me know down below. And another striker who could be on the move is Charlton Athletic's Lyle Taylor, with Brentford looking for a replacement for Neil Maupay. Taylor is said to be their #1 target at the moment, and Middlesbrough have also joined the race in looking for another forward, and they are said to be keen on Charlton's frontman. Obviously, he got off to a really good start in the Championship with that 3 points away at Ewood Park. He got on the score sheet, scoring the winner in that game. Last season in League One, double figures for both goals and assists. It's clear to see why there's interest in this guy. I think he's got a really good eye for goals, really intelligent player going forward, but if Charlton were to lose him at this point of the transfer window, that would be absolutely crippling for their season. Make no mistake about it, he is an absolutely monumental player for them, and I can't really see them replacing him. I do think he'd be a really good fit into Brentford though. He'd fit into that dynamic 3 that they like to play with how many chances they create per 90 minutes. He'd also score a bucket load of goals for them. It's one to keep your eye on. Charlton fans, I'm sure, will be desperate to keep hold of this guy. And Middlesbrough also said to be closing in on Charlton right back Anthony De Steele as well, so Charlton could be losing 2 of their key players now. There have been some contrasting reports on where this deal's currently at, but reportedly a fee has been agreed between the 2 clubs, and Charlton have got quite a bit to do to replace those 2 players if they do go. Last week, Wigan had a loan inquiry knocked back for Preston midfielder Daniel Johnson, and now Brentford are said to be keen on the midfielder. I'm still really mixed as to what I make of him, with Preston now completing the signing of Tom Bayliss. DJ's first team opportunities may be a little bit more limited, and if the right fee was to come in, I wouldn't really be that opposed to selling him. On his day, he's capable of winning a match, and his stats from last season with goals and assists weren't awful, but you just never really quite know what you're going to get from DJ, and those levels of inconsistency just mean he's a really frustrating player to watch sometimes. Sticking with North End, left back seems to be a bit of a problem position for us at the moment. We've sent Josh Earl out on loan to get a bit more experience at Bolton, however he picked up an injury just 14 minutes into his debut there, and he's going to be out for a number of weeks now, so that leaves us with only 1 left back at this point in time, Andy Hughes. One player who we have been targeting is Max Lowe, the Derby County left back who was loaned out to Aberdeen last season, did very well in his time at Scotland, won the Players Player of the Year award. However, Brentford have also been keen on the left back and did have a £1.5 million bid rejected for the player, and in all honesty, can I see Preston forking out more than that? I'd be very surprised. With us letting Earl go out on loan and then him picking up an injury, we've left ourselves in a bit of a weird position now because we need to get someone in before deadline day. This may be a bit of wishful thinking from me, but one player who is available on a transfer in this window is Greg Cunningham. After first team opportunities have been fairly limited at Cardiff City since making his move there, obviously Cardiff have got 2 top left backs in Cunningham and Bennett. Cunningham's available on a transfer, and I would absolutely love North End to go back in for him. His time at Preston, by far the best fullback I've seen at North End. From my time watching the club, he was absolutely fantastic. Defensively, always sound, and going forward as well, he was absolutely brilliant. There's going to be surely a host of clubs interested in Cunningham because he will be an absolutely fantastic fit for a number of them. North End have also been talked about as interested in the goalkeeper for the rest of this window, with Conor Ripley and Declan Rudd. Neither seem to be in Neil's favour at the moment. Earlier on in the window, we did unsuccessfully go after Muric, who's now at Nottingham Forest. Fraser Forster was one player who Preston were potentially being talked about, but wages seem to be the main issue with that one. And the same with Fraser Campbell as well. He's currently a free agent coming off the back of a decent season with Hull City where he scored 12 goals. North End were being heavily linked with the player, and at one point it looked like this deal was very close. But as things stand, it doesn't look like it's going to be happening anymore. It's still looking like Norwich are keen on the return for striker Jordan Rhodes after he spent the last season out on loan there. Sheffield Wednesday still have an absolute abundance of strikers, so they're going to look to offload a few. If they can get a decent fee for him, I believe the asking price is around about 4 million at the moment, and that money can be reinvested elsewhere into the squad. I don't think that'll be a bad deal for them. And it's also looking like Wednesday striker Lucas Jow will be making the move to Reading for this window with the fee around about £5 to £7 million. Now, I'm really impressed with this signing for Reading. Lucas Jow is someone who is fairly underrated. You know, he's had to fight for his place now and again at Sheffield Wednesday with them having loads of competition at the front of the pitch. He scored at the weekend against Reading a fantastic goal in the last minute. If he is given the run of games and he's their #1 striker going forward for this season, I can really see him scoring about 15 goals or something if the service is there. And I think both clubs come out as winners. Wednesday are getting a decent price for the player, which they can then reinvest, and Reading are getting a top striker. One player Wednesday fans will be hoping they go back in for is Michael Hector. Chelsea said to want around about £4 million for the defender. Really impressed with his time at Wednesday there last season, although Bristol City are also interested in the player as they look for a replacement for Adam Webster. Crystal Palace striker Connor Wickham's being linked around the league at the moment, with Bristol City, Stoke and Reading also to be interested in the striker. He's only really played a handful of games over the past few years as he's been recovering from a long-term knee problem. Obviously for Bristol City, their #1 target to bring in going forward is going to be Eddie Nketiah from Arsenal, who we spoke about previously, but obviously with Leeds now being interested, that one may no longer come off. Swansea have reportedly had a £2.5 million bid rejected for Burnley striker Nahki Wells, who spent last season out on loan at QPR where he scored 9 goals in all competitions. Honestly, I've always quite liked Nahki Wells before he made his move to Burnley. In his 3 seasons at Huddersfield prior to making that move, he got into double figures in the Championship. Quite a nimble striker with a low centre of gravity, good at getting in behind, gives Swansea a little bit something different. They also look to be interested in Bournemouth striker Sam Sturridge on a season-long loan. It's been reported that Jordan Ives available on a loan deal, and some Championship clubs already been interested. The likes of Derby County and Middlesbrough have been mentioned so far. Would be a really good option for the Championship. I'd be impressed if anyone did manage to get that one done. Newcastle have been another club who have been linked to the Bournemouth winger recently. Reportedly, Wigan, Charlton and Barnsley have all inquired about taking West Brom midfielder Sam Field on loan for the season. After Tendai Darikwa's injury, Nottingham Forest are after a right back, and it's looking like that player will be Carl Jenkinson, with Forest and Arsenal in advanced talk for the fullback at the moment. If I'm being completely honest, I completely forgot that Carl Jenkinson was still an Arsenal player. He's had such a bizarre career since joining them, but a move back to the Championship could be on the cards. I think that probably is his level at the moment. West Brom continue to be linked with the move back for striker Dwight Gale. This really is the only area of their squad which is lacking at the moment, and however unlikely it may be, if they do manage to pull a deal off for Dwight Gale, whether it be on a loan or a permanent transfer, West Brom would be really well set up for the season then. Ben Rama could well still be on the move for the rest of this window as well, with Aston Villa still very keen on the Brentford playmaker, with Brentford set to value the player at around about £20 million. If that valuation is met, then he could be another player on his way out, similar to Neil Maupay. Ollie Watkins is also still been linked away from the club as well, with Crystal Palace interested over the past week or so. I think whatever happens, the next few days are going to be very hectic with Brentford indeed. But guys, there you have it. There are some of the latest transfer rumours currently going around the league. So if you've seen any others that we didn't mention in today's video, make sure to get them in the comments down below. But apart from that, that will now wrap it up for today's video, guys. So if you did go on to enjoy, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Make sure you do subscribe for a bit of regular Championship content. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.